our best bet is that they bring back the Homestead Act.
Speaking of the Homestead Act, that reminds me of the guy who used it to legally make a claim for the moon.
What? Oh, right.
Yep, let me tell you about Dennis Hope, the man who sold the moon. Ever look up and wonder who that moon actually belongs to? Did the US claim it when they landed there? Can it even belong to a country? Well, the simple answer to that is no. The moon can't belong to a country. Back in 1967, the biggest players in space travel in the world were the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union. Together, they created an agreement referred to as the Outer Space Treaty, which has since been adopted by over 100 other countries. In it, it says that no country can make claims of sovereignty over lands in space, or in other words, no country can own the moon or any other body in our solar system. I know, I started off by saying someone legally made an ownership claim over the moon using principles of a land claiming law from 1862. So let me explain. Back in the late 70s, there was a former used car salesman named Dennis Hope, a man with a big mustache, bigger dreams, and absolutely zero experience in law. He was on a cross-country road trip, and you know how that can be. Long stretches of highway, nothing but white lines and windshield wipers. And that's when the genius struck. You see, Dennis realized something about the way the treaty was written that created a loophole he could exploit to his own benefit. The thing about international agreements and law is it's not only what is written that matters. Sometimes what isn't written matters even more than what is. What I'm getting at is Dennis was savvy enough to catch that these three countries, and every other country that has signed on since, only agreed that countries couldn't make claims on land and space. It says nothing, however, that stops individuals.
You telling me I can claim Mars?
Let me get into that. After making this connection with the Outer Space Treaty, it wasn't just a matter of Dennis saying, "The moon's mine now."
Dibs.
As I said before, Dennis used the procedures that were laid out in the Homestead Act to stake his own claim. But it wasn't 160 acres of the Wild West he was seeking ownership over. His claim was for the moon and nearly every other celestial body in our solar system. In 1980, Dennis went to the San Francisco City Hall to register his claim. As you can imagine, he met with several confused bureaucrats who had no idea what to do with him. Each one passed the buck from one department to another until Dennis finally met with a supervisor who understood his intentions, and they accepted and registered his claim. Immediately after that, Dennis sent letters to the United Nations and the Soviet Union with proof of his claim, and he let those countries know that he intended to sell properties in space. Then, he waited. Just like other Americans who made homestead claims in the past, the United States had several years to respond to and to deny Dennis's claim. They never did. He didn't get a denial from the UK or the Soviet Union either. Once the time lapsed and his claim was realized, Dennis then applied for a copyright on his idea of selling moonland, and the US approved it. So according to the US government, Dennis Hope owned the moon and could now freely sell lots there. He also owned all the planets and many of their known moons.
Tell me at least I can buy some land from them.
You'd certainly have some interesting neighbors, that's for sure. Evidently, he has sold moon lots to a ton of celebrities and even former US presidents. Dennis set up a lunar embassy and sells his lots for a mere $30 an acre. And you even get the mineral rights for when you finally decide to mine your land. Keep in mind, however, the galactic government will take 10% of your proceeds from mining. So, unfortunately, if you're looking to escape taxes there, you're out of luck. And if you have an extra 250 grand lying around, you can purchase the entire planet of Pluto. What a steal, huh? A private planet for a mere $250,000. What's a private island run here on Earth, anyway? Well, that all said, I love that his last name is Hope. It's fitting, because his story shows us no matter how out of this world an idea may be, if you use your brain and a little logic, you can find ways to accomplish the outlandish. So yeah, Dennis Hope may not have set his foot on the moon, but he did find a way to plant his flag there. I'm sure none of us will ever buy land on the moon, but that spirit, the rules infer that I can't, but they don't say it mindset, that's powerful. And he's not the only one. On our next trip, I'll tell you about a programmer who fought a speeding ticket, not with a lawyer, but with a computer program. And the best part? He won. Repeatedly. I guess when you understand systems better than the people enforcing them, interesting things can happen.